This is a constitutional point of order. Mr. President, ordinarily, I would expect that as a Parliament, we should look at the Constitution before certain things are looked at here.
We can't hear you.
Section 4, second schedule of the Constitution, has the legislative powers. Part 1, exclusive legislative.
About, please, so that our colleagues follow you.
Exclusive legislative list, Mr. President. I can read it down, but I think anybody can go through it. There are 68 items in the exclusive legislative list. Furthermore, on the Part 2 concurrent legislative list, we also have all the items, but the basic item that is involved here is Section 17. Now, in the first part, in the exclusive legislative list, there is nothing that has to do with animals, animal husbandry, livestock. Nothing. In the second part, in the concurrent legislative list, Section 17, I can read. It says, the National Assembly may make laws for the Federation or any part thereof, A, health, safety, and welfare of persons employed to work in factories, offices, and other premises. And I can go direct to 1720. I mean the page 133 for the concurrent legislative list, and page 130 for the exclusive legislative list. The essence of my point of order is that we are to make laws exclusively for what is determined in the Constitution. We do not make laws for residual matters that are left for states and local governments, as the case may be. Livestock and matters of that nature are in the residual list because they are not expressly provided for in the Constitution. I so submit.
Sabi.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Aliu Sabi Abdullahi. I represent Niger North Senatorial District. Mr. President, let me thank very profoundly the leader for bringing this bill. I'm a veterinarian by training, and I will say also that when I was in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the issue of donkey going into extinction in Nigeria was something raised, discussed, and approved in 2004 at the National Council of Agriculture and Rural Development meeting in Sokoto State. The concern, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is every country must be concerned about its flora and fauna, because the ecosystem is designed in such a manner that the balance we are enjoying today is driven by the diversity of your flora and fauna. Today, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as it is, this subject matter, which the minority leader is referring to, in the same constitution, the federal government is also given the right to look at research. Breeding is a research work. And this bill is therefore looking at when you don't want something to go into extinction, then you are talking about conservation management. Conservation management, whether in situ or ex situ, that is in the field or in the laboratory, is a function of research. The federal government also has right in this same constitution for research. And so, Mr. President, what we are saying simply is that suddenly from somewhere, some people have suddenly realized the value of the skin of donkey. And the population of donkey in the north, because donkeys are found mostly in the drier parts of any country. And they are used for so many things, for drought power, for farm power, and the like. And so the point we are saying is, I'm aware, we have done the studies in Gombe State. And in Gombe State, with due respect, we found people coming from Akwa Ibom to buy large population of donkey. And we interviewed them and saw that, yes, there is a value chain. We are saying, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that for us, this bill, as we see it, is something this country needs. And I think we should support it, because whenever you are talking about
no, we have not come to the point of discussing the bill, whether to support it or not. Your explanation, I think, is apt.
Yes.
Senator Basiru Surajideen Ajibola.
The profound point of order, constitutional point of order raised by the minority leader is in line with the position I've canvassed severally here, even though by majority have been overruled. But for record purposes, I still want to restate the fact that the subject matter is desirable, is necessary, does not automatically confer on the federal legislative arm legislative competence to be do so. Section 1, subsection 3 of our constitution is very clear as to superiority provision, that any act or law contrary to the provision of the constitution is to the extent of that inconsistency null and void unto variance. And the basis of our existence is the constitution. The basis of our power is in section 4 of the constitution. We make clearly to give the National Assembly 3 areas of subject matter. 1, exclusive legislative list as listed in part 1 of the second schedule of the constitution. And a part, and I use that word advisedly, a part of the concurrent list. When we talk about concurrent list, there appear to be a misconception that the fact that a subject matter is listed on concurrent list, the federal government has the power to make law. No, there is a bifurcation as to even when a matter is mentioned. For instance, archives, it has to do with a specific subject matter. The same thing here. The third area that the National Assembly can make law are specific specific provision conferring legislative competence on the National Assembly. But by section 4, subsection 7 of our constitution, any other matter not so listed in the exclusive list and to which concurrent list does not confer National Assembly power are matter for legislative competence of the State Assembly. This matter has been litigated up to the Supreme Court in the case of Attorney General of Lagos State and Attorney General of Federation, when issue was in case whether the National Urban Regional Planning Law Decree that was transmitted to be an existing law by section 3318 of the Constitution is valid. The Supreme Court said the question of whether regulating urban and regional planning is desirous or not is not the issue. But looking at the structure of our constitution, when it comes to physical planning, is a residual matter and therefore come within the competence of the state legislature. I want to say that the argument of whether a cattle or a donkey is going to extinction is beyond the point. The question is, as of today, on the state of our constitution, National Assembly, by the constitution that all of us sworn to uphold, does not have the competence. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, now my understanding and ruling. What we are talking about is concerning the donkey, not the donkey for commercial purposes, but the extinction of the donkey. And I believe that we could legislate on this like any other livestock if we feel that will disproportionately destroy our ecosystem. Secondly, even if we are looking at the economic value of the donkey, not in terms of selling it, but in terms of keeping the environment balanced, I believe that we have the jurisdiction to legislate on that. And based on our Standing Orders 25H, which gives me the chance donated by you to interpret the rules, I rule that we can go ahead and take this bill. That is my ruling. Leader of the Senate.
We are not looking at it from any other.
Leader, just go ahead and read this. We have passed that stage.
I am delighted to lead the debate on this very important bill, which seeks to regulate the slaughter of donkeys, establish the breeding and ranching of donkeys through the export certification value chain to mitigate the extinction of donkeys given their aesthetic, ecological, educational, historical, recreational, scientific value to the Nigerian nation. The bill will further complement the import and export of raw animal skins and hides, especially donkey hides, which are currently on the custom prohibition list. You will recall that this bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 30th September 2020. While cattle has received tremendous attention by the government over the years through the National Cattle, Beef and Dairy Breeding Programs, the donkey value chain has not received such attention. In fact, the donkey predicament has deteriorated. There is no program in place to improve donkey breeding in a practical approach to increasing the national donkey population. The slaughter of the donkeys had become an attractive business nationwide, not for the donkey meat, which is an inconsequential product of donkey slaughter, but the donkey hides, which is a lucrative export product. The actual meat of choice in the horse meat, for those who indulge in it, the horse hide is not exported, as the major focus of the donkey slaughter is for the export of the hide, which is the premium product for export. This bill is not a ban on donkey slaughtering, as it will drive the illegal slaughter and export underground to the detriment of government regulation and the attendant benefit that government will derive from its proper regulation through increased employment opportunities, revenue generation, provision of social amenities, improved sanitary conditions of the slaughter and processing facilities, and the organized export trade through the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Services, export certification value chain. The likes of Kenya, Tanzania, Egypt, and Pakistan have regulated donkey businesses in their countries, and it is contributing to the national GDP. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill therefore seeks to achieve the following objectives. One, to declare the donkey as an endangered species, which as a result of indiscriminate slaughtering for the purpose of harvesting its skin has greatly depleted the national herd of the animal. Two, to make Nigeria derive utmost benefit from the donkey hide export business that is worth millions of dollars by regulation instead of outright ban of the business that will compel the value chain players to go underground and ultimately increase the smuggling of the product due to the huge demand for the product in the Far Eastern countries, especially China. Provide opportunities for reasonable donkey breeding that should therefore, for those who wish to go into the business, be able to follow laid down procedures and regulations for the value chain operations. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the House of Representatives has already passed a similar bill, which I strongly believe is intended to prevent the indiscriminate slaughter of the donkeys and encourage the breeding and ranching of donkeys to ensure the restocking of the national donkey herd, eventually increasing the donkey population and eliminating the threats of its extinction. I believe that if this bill passes the second reading, an opportunity will be provided for the two approaches to donkey protection to be harmonized into a single law that protects and preserves the species for generations to come. The ultimate aim is to ensure the classification of donkeys as endangered species, and I am of the firm view that we should have a holistic and sustainable approach to the donkey predicament as provided for in this bill. Respected colleagues, my distinguished colleagues, I urge you in the name of God to support the prompt passage of this bill for the record or for the second reading to help make a difference in view of the harnessing the inherent economic benefits for this country and for preserving the species of this animal. Some of us grew up with that animal when we were small kids. I so submit, Mr. President.
Leader, this is the first time God to, to save the donkey. Distinguished Senator Eyinnaya Abaribe.
And I think laws are made for us to be able to ensure that our heart planet is maintained and protected. When any species is being threatened to be extincted, it will be our responsibility as a parliament to ensure that we use our God-given power to protect such species. Secondly, in doing this, we are not only protecting such animals, but we are also protecting ourselves, because by protecting our planet, by protecting our heart, we are protecting the life of the generations to come. But for the current generation as well, as stated by the lead debate, there are economic values that will be added in the actions we are being called to take. It is towards this end that I support this bill, and I urge that our colleagues do support its second reading, and that we consider it passionately and pass it into law for the benefit of the current and future generation. I so support, Mr. President.
Deputy Senator.
Robert Boroke, representing Oguno. I rise to support this bill and plead with my colleagues to support it for second reading. The camel is one of the rare animals we have in this country. Donkey, sorry. It's one of the rare animals we have in this country. And the disruption of equilibrium in the system is very, very dangerous. We may not be able to predict the consequence now. So it is better for us to do everything, not only the donkey or camel, but any animal that we have. What we are witnessing in the Niger Delta is a very serious one. Now that most of the flora there are being destroyed. So it is my position that everything should be done to make sure that we preserve this animal. Also, Mr. President, this animal is known to be very, very resistant to drought. Therefore, there will be some genetic significance. We have not exploited the gene pool of this animal, which we can exploit for medical purposes in future. So there are so many reasons that we need to preserve this animal. I so support that this bill will be read the second time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Of Nigeria. The donkeys are used for, one, farming. They are used also for transportation. And of course, some people are using that for meat, but these are the only Chinese that we discovered. Because very recently, we have discovered that most of the donkeys that are slaughtered are actually slaughtered by the Chinese. And then they are also exporting them outside the country. You will go to the market and discover that they will carry about 200 to 300 donkeys and then take them outside. Immediately they move outside, they slaughter them and then take the meat in trucks and then actually clean them and then take them. But the most important actually is the skin, because the skin is very strong, very powerful, and is also used almost everywhere. The skin is being used as, for making boxes, for making all these iPad cases, and so many other things. So I think it's important if we can protect this one and begin to breed it for commercial purposes by Nigeria, I think it's very good. So I therefore support this bill. It's very important. And I want everybody to look at it carefully and then support it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
A bill for an act to regulate the slaughter of donkeys and establish the breeding and ranching of donkeys throughout the export certificate value chain to mitigate the extinction of donkeys and for related matters 2021 second reading, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development to report back within 2 weeks. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. I want to reiterate that the debate was largely on the extinction, and this extinction is what this Senate is concerned about, because that affects the ecosystem, that destabilizes the balance. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.